I found a prescription for STD medication in his wallet and knew something was wrong. I wasn't snooping, not really. I was just cleaning up. We'd both had a long week, and Jake left his jeans on the back of the chair like he always did when he was exhausted. I was picking them up to toss into the laundry basket when his wallet fell out and hit the hardwood floor with a slap. Cards and receipts spilled everywhere. I crouched down to gather them, fully intending to just stuff it all back in and move on. But one piece of paper caught my eye, not a receipt, not a note, but something folded very deliberately. I almost didn't open it. I wish I hadn't. It was a prescription. Dated a week ago. The pharmacy label clearly printed azithromycin, an antibiotic most commonly prescribed for chlamydia. My stomach dropped. I froze, staring at the label, willing it to say something else. But it was unmistakable. It had Jake's name on it. Same address. Same everything. The doctor who prescribed it wasn't one I recognized, and I knew his regular GP. This was someone from a walk-in clinic downtown. He hadn't told me he'd been sick. Hadn't said anything about needing antibiotics. Nothing. We'd been together for nearly 5 years. Lived together for 3. And while things hadn't been perfect, when are they ever, I truly believed we were solid. He worked long hours at the gym he managed. I had a hybrid job, mostly from home. We had our routines. I made him breakfast most mornings. He made sure my car always had gas. We talked about getting a dog, maybe even kids. So how the hell was I supposed to process this? I didn't say anything immediately. I finished cleaning like a robot, heart hammering. When he got home that evening, I acted normal. Cooked dinner, made small talk, watched Netflix. But inside, I was spiraling. I wanted to confront him, demand answers, throw the paper in his face. But I didn't know what I'd even ask. Was he cheating? Was it something else? Could there be a logical explanation? The doubt was suffocating. That night, when he was in the shower, I checked his phone. I'd never done it before, not because I was morally opposed, but because I never felt the need. But now, I had to know. I was shaking as I opened his messages. He didn't have any suspicious names or apps. But one contact stood out, M. There were dozens of messages. Mostly gym-related at first glance, training at 5, or bring water. But as I scrolled back weeks, the tone shifted. Flirty emojis. Inside jokes. Then more explicit messages. Last night was amazing. I can still feel your hands on me. I felt like I was going to throw up. Jake came out of the shower, towel around his waist, hair dripping, and smiled at me like nothing was wrong. I couldn't even look at him. I muttered something about being tired and went to bed early. But I didn't sleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling, wondering when he started lying to me. How long it had been going on. And most of all, why. The next morning, I skipped breakfast. I told him I had an early Zoom call and needed to prep. Really, I just couldn't sit across from him and pretend. As soon as he left, I opened my laptop, not to work, but to dig. I found the clinic on the prescription and called. I didn't pretend to be him or anything illegal, I just asked if they had information on health screenings or what STDs the medication typically treated. The nurse on the phone gave a general answer but confirmed what I already knew: chlamydia, gonorrhea, sometimes nonspecific urethritis. All sexually transmitted. My throat felt dry. I tried to remember the last time Jake and I had been intimate. About 2 weeks ago. Maybe more. I hadn't noticed anything strange at the time. But now that I was looking for cracks, everything felt suspicious. The late gym nights. The way he suddenly started being extra sweet, like bringing home flowers randomly or offering to run errands without being asked. Was that guilt? Was that how he masked betrayal? By that afternoon, I was done pretending. I printed out the prescription and screenshots of the texts and left them on the kitchen counter. Then I packed an overnight bag and drove to my sister's place. I didn't tell him where I was going. I didn't even send a text. I knew that as soon as he saw the papers, he'd know exactly why I left. He called that night. I let it go to voicemail. Then he texted. "Babe, what is this? Please call me. I can explain." I didn't respond. The next morning, he called again, 6 times. I finally answered on the 7th. "I messed up," he said immediately, voice low and shaking. "But it's not what you think." "Don't insult me, Jake," I said. "There are messages. A prescription. You lied to me." "I wasn't lying," he insisted. I didn't know how to tell you. I thought I could fix it before you ever found out." "Fix what?" "That you slept with someone else. Gave me a chance to catch an STD." My voice broke. "How long has this been going on?" He was quiet for a long time. Then finally, about 2 months. "It was someone from the gym. It was a mistake. Just a handful of times. I didn't think it meant anything." I laughed, bitter and exhausted. "You didn't think it meant anything, but it meant enough to risk my health. To lie to me. To make me feel crazy." "I got tested," he said quickly. "When I found out, I got tested and treated. I was going to tell you, I swear. But you didn't. You were going to keep pretending. I was scared. I didn't want to lose you." "Well," I said. "You did." I stayed at my sister's place for the next week. Jake kept texting and calling, alternating between apologies and justifications. He swore it was over, that it was a stupid, impulsive fling. He told me he hated himself, that he was getting therapy, that he'd do anything to fix us. But every message just made it worse. Every word he said reminded me of what he did, how he chose someone else, how he risked my body and broke my trust for a moment of gratification. What haunted me most wasn't even the betrayal, it was how easily he kept it from me. How many mornings we shared coffee while he carried that lie in his pocket. How many nights he kissed me goodnight after cheating, after treating me like an afterthought. I started questioning everything about our relationship. Had he always been this good at hiding things? Was this the first time, or just the first time I found out? I went and got tested myself. Thankfully, everything came back negative. But the damage was done. Even if I was physically fine, emotionally I was wrecked. My therapist said it might help to write a letter to him, not to send, just to get the words out. So I did. I wrote everything I couldn't say without crying. About how he made me feel disposable. About how scary it was to realize I'd been vulnerable with someone who didn't value me. About how I used to picture our future together, and now I couldn't even picture being in the same room. When I finally agreed to see him in person, it wasn't to reconcile. It was to end things officially. We met at a neutral place, a park where we used to go on early dates. He looked awful. Unshaven, dark circles under his eyes, thinner than I remembered. He tried to smile when he saw me, but it faded when he saw my face. "I know there's probably nothing I can say to make it right," he said quietly. "There isn't," I replied. "I just needed you to know how sorry I am. I love you, and I hate myself for what I did." I nodded. "I believe that you're sorry. But I also believe that love isn't enough anymore." He cried. I didn't. I walked away from that meeting feeling lighter. Not happy. Not even relieved. Just clear. I knew I wasn't going back. I knew I deserved better. And for the first time in weeks, I finally felt like I could breathe again. Update 2. After that conversation, I moved back into my apartment alone. The silence felt different this time, less like loneliness, more like peace. I started rearranging things. I took down the photos of us. I boxed up the mementos. I deleted the playlists. I didn't cry while doing it. It felt more like shedding a skin I didn't want to wear anymore. Jake tried a few more times, texted me on what would have been our anniversary, left a note at my door once. But I never responded. I didn't need to. The closure came from within, not from anything he could say. I started going back to the gym, not to get revenge body hot or anything dramatic, but because I wanted to feel strong again. I started reconnecting with friends I'd distanced myself from during the relationship. It's funny how much you forget about yourself when you're trying to maintain someone else's comfort. My friends welcomed me back with open arms and no judgment, just warmth. I didn't have to explain everything. They just let me be. One night, I found the letter I'd written him. I read it again, and this time, I didn't feel rage or heartbreak. Just closure. So I burned it. I sat on my balcony, watching the ashes float away into the night, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was in survival mode. I felt like I was beginning something. There was no big epiphany or dramatic moment. Just small, quiet choices. Saying no when I used to say yes out of fear. Sleeping through the night without waking up in panic. Laughing, real laughing, with people who made me feel seen. I started living for myself again. I don't know where this new path leads yet, but I finally feel okay walking it alone. Jake was a chapter. An important one, sure. But he's not the whole story. Not even close. A few weeks after I started to really feel like myself again, something unexpected happened. I got a call from Jake's mom. We hadn't spoken since everything went down, and I debated whether or not to even pick up. But curiosity got the better of me. Her voice sounded tired. Not the chipper, performative energy she usually carried. She said Jake had been a mess since I cut contact, and that he wasn't eating, wasn't sleeping, barely getting through work. I didn't say much. I just listened. Then she said something that stuck with me. He's hurting because he knows he destroyed the best thing in his life. It was meant to make me feel flattered. Guilty. I don't know. But all I could think was, yeah, he did. And now I'm building something better without him. I didn't say that out loud. I just said, I hope he gets the help he needs, and ended the call. In a weird way, that conversation gave me even more closure. Jake's pain wasn't my responsibility. His regret didn't mean I owed him anything. If anything, it confirmed I made the right choice. I wasn't going to be his life raft just because he finally realized he was drowning. Later that week, I joined a community book club. I know that sounds small, but it was huge for me. Just showing up to a room of strangers, sharing thoughts, laughing, debating plot twists, it reminded me of who I used to be before the lies, before the betrayal. I was finally writing again too. Journaling turned into short stories. One of them even got accepted into a local lit magazine. I printed it and stuck it to my fridge with a magnet that said, "Not settling again." I don't miss Jake. Not the real him. Maybe the version of him I believed in, the one I thought existed. But even that fades more every day. What's left is a better relationship with myself. More trust in my own intuition. Stronger boundaries. And this quiet, steady joy that comes from surviving something that should have broken you, but didn't. Not even close. What do you think? Tell us in the comments. Like the video and hit the subscribe button for more Reddit stories.